You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or their affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Good evening. Welcome to the Haunted Connection show here on Parasearch Radio. Unfortunately, it's just me tonight because Jane's suffering. She's laid up in bed with chest infection, so you've got me. Hope you're all well. Tonight's guest is Brian Holloway. Hi, Brian.
Hi, hello there.
How are you tonight, Brian?
I am fantastic, thank you.
Good. Welcome to the show. We've just been talking before we came on air, so we're going to talk about, and you're living up in Whitby now.
I am, yes. Been here just over a year now, and it's a beautiful place, beautiful part of the country.
Yeah, does it live up to its reputation?
It really, really does. I mean, I've been coming here since I was a kid on and off, and it's that type of place where when you first come, you just fall in love with the place. The history's amazing. It's got obviously the main tourist attractions, which is the Abbey. You've got the famous 199 steps leading up to St. Mary's Church and the cemetery. But it's much more than that. The town is just fascinating. It's steeped in history.
Yeah, that sounds good. And also, of course, it's lots of fresh air. I imagine that's the difference in them.
Oh, it's very fresh, especially this time of year. There's not a lot of tourists around at the minute. But, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what the weather. You can just go out there and it just never gets old. The views never get old. I mean, I walk around now every day in Whitby, just trying to get healthy after the Christmas binge, and you just walk and walk and walk, and you just find somewhere new all the time. And obviously, the fresh air's it's definitely very good for you. The sea air.
Brilliant, and of course, there's the Dracula connections up there.
Mm-hmm. There is, yes. Obviously, Whitby very, very famous for the Dracula story, and it was actually just featured in the Netflix show, the Dracula. I didn't actually see it myself, but some people told me, and they were actually filming in Whitby, which was really cool.
Oh, that's good then.
Yeah, that was another little claim to fame for Whitby. But yeah, it's we've got actually an attraction in town, the Whitby, the Dracula Experience, where you go in and it tells you the story of Whitby, the story of Dracula, and that's really cool. Yeah,
I think that'd be fascinating. It is another city that I'd like to go to eventually. I've never actually been to York even, so that's another city I'd like to go. I'd like cities with history. Mm-hmm. So perhaps one day myself and my wife Julie will get up these places.
I would recommend it. And again, for the paranormal, which is obviously what I do, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Oh, so how long have you been involved in the paranormal?
All my life. Literally all my life. My very first memory was paranormal based. I don't even know how old I was. I maybe 2.5, 3 years old, and something happened, and that's where literally the journey started from that day.
Blimey.
Mm-hmm.
It's a few years then.
1 or 2.
I find it fascinating when I talk to my guests that how many years have actually been involved in the paranormal. But to be honest, I'm relatively new.
Yeah.
It must be perhaps 7 years I've actively been involved. So I'm still a newcomer.
Well, there's a lot to learn because I've been doing this now for over 40 years, shall we say? Yeah. Let's just put it like that. And I'm still learning.
Yeah.
It's just. Once it gets hold of you, as you know yourself, even being new in this field, once you get the bug, once you get things, you just cannot let it go.
Yeah, I describe it as it's a bit like a drug.
Yeah, it is.
Like you said, once it's got its teeth into you, you can't forget it, can you?
You can't forget it.
There in one form or another. Mm-hmm. It's all there.
Yeah, and with the experiences I've had, even since like a child.
Yeah.
It's even more so for me because I mean I've seen things and witnessed things that some people might never actually experience. even being in the paranormal field. So that even pushes me on further. That's why I do what I do today. It's just that.
Yeah, go on.
No, so I was just going to say it's that drive that keeps pushing me forward. You know, it's when you experience, because I mean, everyone that comes like yourself into the paranormal, and if you haven't been, you know, you've just started, you obviously had an experience. Most people have had an experience that led them into the paranormal.
That's true. I had my first experience when I was a teenager, so many years ago.
Yeah.
But I never sort of did anything with it until I started doing what I do now. I obviously, I suppose TV show Most Haunted really got me into it, which it did for most people.
Yeah, I was there at the early days of Most Haunted. Yeah, that's kind of. I mean, obviously, I was doing this even before Most Haunted was even a thing, because of being a kid. But that was the first show that brought it to the public, wasn't it? Really, it was like
that's right.
Yeah, and
Most Haunted have got the followers and they've got their haters. Same as everything else.
Oh yes.
But everyone, even the haters, have got to hold their hands up to Most Haunted in the beginning.
In the beginning, yeah, I totally agree. In the beginning, it was groundbreaking stuff for TV. It really was. It was like kind of in the day, because some people don't realise how long Most Haunted's been going on.
Yeah, that's right.
It's been a lot of years, and it's not so much now. I'm not a sort of fan and a follower of the later stuff, but the earlier stuff, it just had me hooked. It was fascinating.
Definitely, the first few seasons were amazing to me.
Oh God, yes, yeah.
But unfortunately, there seems to be overrun by the American shows nowadays.
That's it. And again, it's not only overrun by the American shows, but like all TV shows. Because I mean, I've done TV myself, so I know what it's like. But they get to a certain stage when they're getting, you know, season after season after season, and they have to guarantee results. So it starts, you know, I've always had a thing. They start losing the plot a little bit. Do you know what I mean? That they start. You know, and it just went a bit weird for me. Like I say, after the first few seasons, so which is a shame. It
is. It is a shame, because I thought, I agree with you, it was groundbreaking. So I hold my hands up. If it weren't for Most Haunted, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. There wouldn't be a Haunted Antiques Research Centre. So fair play to them.
Definitely, 100%.
So, what do you think to these American shows, then, Brian? Do you?
Oh, there's a can of worms.
Yeah, I like can of worms.
Well, you know, some of them are okay, but a lot of the thing with the Americans, I love the Americans. A lot of my friends are American. Some of my biggest fans are American, but some of the American TV shows, they're very excitable, and they don't show the paranormal in the right light. It's almost like, I always made a joke that, as you know, as a paranormal investigator, when you go to investigate somewhere, sometimes it can be so boring.
Oh yeah,
people don't realise that you can sit there for hours. But when you watch the shows like Ghost Adventures, it's like, I always call it, it's more like Miami Vice. They're diving around, they're diving through windows. It's all excitement. They're running down corridors, and I'm thinking, that's not necessarily what it's like. That's not. Again, it's TV, isn't it? It's for TV.
Yeah, but they ought to say that, shouldn't they? Well, guys, I know the show's been on for an hour. It's an hour-long show, and there's about 20 minutes of actual investigating. The rest is talking and the history of the building. But we were there 5 days. Yep. To get that 20 minutes of footage.
That's what people don't realise. It's a long time, and it makes it look a lot like it is exciting. Don't get me wrong. Anyone that's listening, doing what we do is very exciting, but it's not quite what you see on those shows. Like I say, like what you said, it's highly edited. It's made to look exciting, and sometimes they overreact to certain situations.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I understand why they have to do it. I do understand why they have to do it like that.
Yeah, well, they put the warning on at the start, don't they? This program's for entertainment.
Exactly.
The TV is supposed to be entertaining.
Exactly.
TV should be entertainment. I don't know how you feel. Most of the TV nowadays, to me, isn't entertainment. It's pure rubbish.
It is.
I'm not just talking about the paranormal shows now.
Just in general.
In general.
Yeah.
We used to have all the Sky channels, and most evenings I'd flick through all the channels and think there's absolutely nothing worth watching.
No. No matter how many channels I've had, I mean, we complain about some of these shows, but all I tend to watch is paranormal based anyway. So I don't watch a lot of normal TV. I don't. I must admit. Yeah, the paranormal is my life. I mean, I'm a one of these classic paranormal guys that I eat, sleep, and every waking moment is paranormal. It's what I do.
So you're really obsessed with it.
You could say that, yes.
Yeah. That's not bad though, is it?
No, it could be worse jobs to have, worse things to do.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you think? Why do you think so many people do have this obsession in the paranormal?
There's a couple of reasons. I mean, a lot of people, genuine people who are obsessed like we are.
Yeah.
We're trying to find that holy grail, that answer is the life after death.
Yeah.
And it is a passion because you want to know. You know what I mean? It's like you want to know, do I survive? When I die, do I survive? Not only for yourself, but for other people.
Yeah.
Some people have a passion in it for the wrong reason as well, which is debates I've had on my own live streams and things. Some people are just in it purely for the fame and the money.
Yeah.
That's that's a whole other conversation. But if you've got a genuine passion, it all boils down to that one thing. That is literally it. We want to know what's on the other side.
Yeah. Do you think we will ever know? Well, obviously, when we die, we will know.
Yeah,
exactly. Do you think there'll ever be the answer that we're all searching for?
I would say yes, because if I thought there would never be the final answer, I wouldn't keep searching.
Yeah.
Because
do you search for yourself?
Yes and no. Yes, because I search because of what happened when I was a child and the things I've had happen to us since. So I'm searching for that answer myself. But what I do now in ITC, reverse audio ITC, I want to show the people what's possible as well and what's out there.
Yeah.
That I want to try and let them understand what I've heard and what I've seen. And I do everything I can to try and show people that. People who maybe haven't got a gift. Because some paranormal investigators, they're sensitives as well. So we sometimes see things and hear things other people don't.
Mm-hmm.
And we're obviously in the right place. Not a lot of people are running around dark buildings and creepy old castles and things like we do. So they're not going to get a chance to experience some of the things we do. Not that they can't happen in their own home, but it's more, we putting ourselves in that situation where we're more likely to see that. But no, I do it because I want people to understand and see that there is something out there. There's something else.
So you've mentioned a couple of times about your big experience. What was that then?
The one that first got me into it.
Yeah.
Right. Back when I was about 2.5, 3 years old, my mum and dad divorced, so I was living with my dad and my brother, my older brother. He's a couple of years older than me, so he'll have been about 5 or 6. Yeah. And we were all sleeping in the same bedroom, and I was sleeping in with my dad. My brother was sleeping in another bed just beside us. And I remember to this day this blood-curdling scream. It was something straight out of a Hammer House of horror movies. It was the worst thing I'd ever heard. And we bolted upright, both me and my dad, and even though I was little, I remember looking over, and my brother was sat up in bed with his hands in front of his face, and he was screaming. Right. He was losing it. And my dad just didn't know what to do, so he was freaking out. So he knew he'd seen something, so he panicked and lifted us both up. We must have been like by the scruff of our necks, and he legged it out the house. And luckily we had family just living over the road. And I found out many years later, because I was still little, and at that point it was starting to get a bit confusing for me. One minute I was in bed, and the next minute I'm legging it down the street with my dad. But the story was, when they calmed him down, he said he'd woken up, and he'd sort of opened his eyes, and he'd sat up, and he saw a man walk through the wall. Right. And given his age, and he'd only just started school himself, he was just in school, they said he couldn't tell them what he saw, but they said, describe what you saw. And without knowing what he was talking about, really, he described a fully clad Roman soldier.
Right.
But he didn't understand what it was. Do you know what I mean? So, and that terrified me, Dad, obviously.
Yeah.
And I can just remember that night. And when I was a bit older, and with that story always got relayed, I was thinking, I was there when that happened. It was I was in the room while that happened. What did he see? What was really there? And I was just hooked from that day.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was a strange night.
So that's even better because you were both so young.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, he wouldn't have any clue what it was it saw. So it's not like he just learned about it at school or something.
No, that wasn't even a thing. He would only just start thinking Romans and things like that was just not a thing. He didn't even know what to call it. He didn't say it was a Roman soldier.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
He didn't even understand what he was describing. He just described, and they picked up on like what they were wearing, the armor and stuff. He didn't then say it was a Roman soldier. It was the adults that said he's just, my God, he's just described a fully clad Roman soldier. And, obviously it's something he's never forgot to this day either. So.
Yeah. So does your brother is he still into the paranormal? Was he?
No. No, he's kind of interested because I am, but not anywhere near like what I am. No.
Yeah.
He's had experiences like me all through our lives because, I grew up in the same house with my dad and my brother for many, many years, and we just had some weird experiences, but it just never got hold of him the same as it did me.
Yeah, I find it fascinating how brothers and sisters who are brought up exactly the same have such different opinions on the paranormal. For example, my older brother, he says, once you're dead, that's it, finished.
Yeah.
The story. My other two brothers, they're a bit, I think they're a bit nervous about the whole subject.
Yeah.
But then there's me, and I'm thinking, well, we're all been brought up in the same house. By the
exactly.
Why is it that they go off in such different tangents?
Exactly, just different people. Like I said, some people just don't believe, no matter what they see and what they experience, they just don't believe it. You're dead, that's it. And some are scared. Some are scared to believe.
I think a lot of it is that they're scared. I always say when people come to my centre, I says, it tends to be the men who don't believe. I don't. My idea is it because throughout time, men have always had the answers. But now, all of a sudden, things are happening and they haven't got the answer for. So
we ain't got the answer.
I don't like that. I'm keeping clear of that. So they're a bit scared of it.
Exactly. It makes perfect sense. And the thing is, like what we just spoke about earlier, we don't have all the answers. That's the thing.
No, definitely not. I people who come up. A good paranormal investigation is if you walk away more questions than when you started with.
Oh, we often do.
And then you've had a good night because finding answers is good, but being given more questions is, I think, is even better.
But it does, because we do a lot of live streams here, and we often do a live stream. I say, right, I want answers, and I get answers, but then at the end of the live stream, I say, well, that's just opened again another whole can of worms. That's a whole new set of questions we got to think next time. It just never ends.
I think that's the beauty of it all.
Yeah.
And I love it. Now, you mentioned live streams. You do lots of live streams. I know you do because I've watched quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Now, when I started live streams, I had quite a few people saying, "Oh, that's the wrong way of going. You shouldn't be doing live streams." What's your answer? I know my answer was. What's your answer to that? Why do you do live streams?
Because the simple thing is because it's live. And because because everything that if you film it and pre-edit it and then put it out, which is fine, people can just say, well, you put things in there or you've done certain stuff. When you're live, you can't hide anything.
That's right.
It's just in the moment, and that's when sometimes you get the best evidence when you're just in the moment. And like we said before, we tell people, we could go live and you might get nothing.
Yeah, absolutely
nothing. And if we sit here for an hour, you're going to sit here with us, and we're just going to twiddle our thumbs.
Yeah.
And I just wish more actual TV shows were live as well. They would do investigations just live.
Definitely. Yeah, and that we can go back to Most Haunted with that as well, can't we?
Yeah,
I used to love the Most Haunted live shows because they were live, and I'm normally a bit skeptical about recorded videos. It's like you say, you can, with the software nowadays on any computer, you can have anything happening.
Oh God, yes.
Even there's apps on your phone now. You can have a ghost.
Exactly.
Pictures, can't you?
You can. You can just point to things, and that's the thing. It's just the age of After Effects and Photoshop and Premiere on your home computers. You cannot trust anything you see anymore.
That's right. And unfortunately, there are a few people out there that fake it.
Oh yes.
In my experience, though, the vast majority of people in the paranormal are really nice, genuine people. Is that how you found it all the years you've been doing it?
Yeah, no. It's well, in the beginning, because back in the day there wasn't as many people doing it. It wasn't so much in the public eye. If you were into the paranormal, it was behind closed doors, and you're a bit weird. But now the paranormal sort of in 2020, or even in the last couple of years, is like a dog eat dog. There's a lot of people faking stuff because, again, they're chasing fame and fortune, and they're willing to do anything to get there. There's a lot of, teams. I believe in, like, our team helping people, helping other teams, new people coming into the paranormal. We help them, but there's a lot of people still who, again, because they're clambering to be the next Ghost Adventures and Zach Bagans, that we got friends stabbing friend in the back, you know what I mean, just to climb that ladder a bit, and that's what it feels like to me at the moment.
Yeah,
it's like a battlefield.
Yeah, and I found, especially last year, perhaps it's because I meet so many different teams now that and I've got so many friends in the field. Perhaps I find out these things. There seems to be a lot of teams falling out.
Yep.
Then new teams springing up. So from one team, all of a sudden, there's three other teams.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They are all, well, they're not all, and some are slagging off the other teams. They've done this.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I get a bit sick of it.
You get disheartened. Like I said, there are the good ones out there, really good teams and genuine people. But yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes teams, they're just too big. Yeah. And you get a lot of conflict, and that's when you get the split, and they all splinter off and make their own teams, and then inevitably, like I say, you get one team slagging another team off and just trying their thing. But I've always seen to keep your circle small. Yeah. Keep your team small, keep your circle of friends small, and you run into less conflict that way. Yeah, I certainly don't take sides with anybody. Unless someone's done the dirty over me, then I'll... Yeah. Because they've affected me. But when teams split up, I had this last year, a team split up, and I had the owner, and I was friends with them all. Yeah. And the owner messaged me and says, "Oh, if you're staying friends with my ex-team members, I'm not going to be your friend." Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, just grow up. We're not in the playground. That's exactly what that statement there is exactly what I said. A lot of the paranormal at the minute is like kids in the playground, like kindergarten kids in the playground, fighting, squabbling over a toy, and falling out with each other, and friend falling out with friend. And sometimes it's embarrassing because you've got we supposed to be. I don't like using the word professional or experts because we're not. No. No one in the paranormal field, if someone calls themselves an expert or a professional, then, you've got a problem. But we've got to act professional. So when people are looking in from the outside, people who are maybe not into the paranormal as we are, but they're interested, all they see is fighting. Infighting, squabbling, and it's not a good look. That's right, definitely. And we're trying to we're supposed to be trying to do this and show people out there, that we're serious about what we do, and the paranormal is a serious thing. Yeah. we just got all this squabbling and fighting and name calling. It has to stop.
Yeah, I agree. We're getting quite a few comments in the chat. Let me scroll down a few.
Okay.
I can't. There's more than normal actually, so that's good.
Oh, excellent.
They must all be tuned in to listen to you, Brian.
Excellent.
Unless you think, Jane's not on, so it's going to be really professional. Anyway, Jacqueline Dixon, I think you know Jacqueline.
I do know Jacqueline, yeah.
She said, Brian is amazing. I've used a few of his ITC apps. A Power Friend is a tester for them. Kerry says, that's cool. They are certainly interesting. Last time I spoke to Brian on a show, my TV turned itself on with a volume full blast.
Yeah,
hadn't happened before and it hasn't happened since. I had been testing one of the apps before the show and during the show. It was weird.
Yep, there were the people who reported strange things like that when they're listening to something I've been in, or they're using one of the applications as well.
Yeah. I'll talk to you about the apps in a minute. Because I must admit, I was always a bit dubious about apps.
Yeah. So was I. Before I started doing them, because there were obviously a lot of fake apps and joke apps and things like that. But I wanted to change that. A few of the guys did that I sort of like learned how to do what we do, and we wanted to show that they can be used as a serious tool when they're done right.
Yeah. My opinion on the apps changed when I had Charlene. Do you know Charlene Locamp?
Yeah.
She was at the centre one night, and Charlene uses an app. I think it's the Afterlife app.
Yeah.
We were getting full sentences on this app in direct answer to my questions.
Yeah. Exactly. When they're done right, and when they're done by credible developers and things, it's amazing what comes out of these things.
Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, Jacqueline says, beware if you use the witch.
Oh God, yes.
What's the witch then?
The witch was an app we developed a little while ago, because I was doing sort of certain applications, and I've learned there's a correlation, try and get my words right, between like with frequencies, audios, tones that do certain things within the spirit world that they seem to react to. So we done apps that sort of like try to attract positive spirit, if you like, positive energy. And then someone said, can you do an app that does the opposite? That's the witch. And when we were developing it and testing it, we were getting some very strange people, getting strange activity in the house. Never mind what was coming through this thing, but it seemed to generate a lot of activity around where they were as well. And it's an app that a lot of people have used, and because of its reputation that it's building up of people, and again, credible people. I mean, Fred Batt, we talked about Most Haunted. Fred Batt from Most Haunted actually uses the witch. The app itself, yeah. And when he goes around on all these tours and all these, walks and things and does all this stuff, he actually uses it out on location as well. So, because obviously he's into a bit demonology stuff. And it just has a strange effect. And up until recently, it was one of the darkest apps that you could actually use and get. And a lot of people still go back to it. Even though there's other ones now, they still go back to that one.
Oh, that sounds interesting. I might try it. Is that available on iPhone?
No, all the apps are Android only, unfortunately. I only develop for Android.
Yeah, I imagine iPhone want a lot of money there, don't they?
They do, actually. It's ridiculous to put an app actually on their store and things like that. It's and that's why we went to not only why we went to Android, because it's a lot easier to develop for. They're a lot more friendly, the Play Store, when you're actually putting your things on there. But I found that Android phones in general were just easier, and because obviously Apple's locked down their ecosystem, so locked down, and the operating system so locked down that it just didn't make it practical.
Okay. Kerry says, I'll have to give it a try. And Jacqueline again says, I can show you a few apps on Saturday. I'm seeing Jacqueline Saturday.
All right. Yeah, she'll open your eyes to a few of them, yeah.
Oh, that's good then. So, I must admit, you to do live feeds, that must have come under some criticism, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
And then also, you use apps. So that must have brought you some criticism as well.
Oh, yes. Obviously, there are certain individuals who not only do they not like the apps, but they say that a mobile device cannot do anything within the paranormal field, cannot have any impact. And I've took a long time to try and get over that stigma and these people who say that. But like we said before, because there were so many, back in the early days, so many apps that were starting to come out that were literally just jokes.
Yeah.
They were meant as jokes. People have, and it was like that for so long. People then just locked onto that. Even today, as soon as they hear the word app, how can it work? But like on some of my live streams, I've explained we use mobile devices, like your phone and your tablet, not because it does anything special. It's because it's a little mini computer. It has a microprocessor. It has a screen. It has memory that we can use. Just like a K2 meter has a little chip inside that runs software. Everything we use in the paranormal field normally has a little chip inside, a little computer, and a phone's the same. So, and it's portable, and you can put it in your pocket and you can take it anywhere. Obviously, you can get these similar apps for your PCs and for your laptops, but they're not as easy to carry around. So that is literally all we use a mobile device for. And people have to then understand how the app actually works, how it does what it does. They've got to also trust that you haven't put anything dodgy in there. Yeah. Which is a thing. Obviously, a lot of it goes on trust, and we pride ourselves. I've always tried to explain to people and being open to them how these things actually work. Yeah. Because I've been accused of some interesting things. I've been accused of putting all the information in the app ahead of advance, obviously. But what I've said there is, to do that, I have to know everybody that's ever going to download the app from now till however long it's on the Play Store for years in advance, and all the information about everybody that's ever going to use it, even before they have, and all their family's information going back generations, and already have pre-programmed that in ahead of advance. You're a clever man then, ain't you? If I could do that, I'd be in a different job, obviously. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I'd be very rich, I would have thought. I've also been... Well, obviously, then there's the other obvious one. The app just taps into your Facebook and all that sort of stuff. But it doesn't, because I've told people to challenge them. Just get a phone, don't put any Facebook or any information in it, and only install that one app, and it will work exactly the same, and you will get exactly the same information. The app does not tap into any information on the phone in any shape, way, or form. You can even put it in airplane mode. It doesn't need to be connected to the internet, so it's not connecting out to any information out there. The principle of the apps themselves are very simple. Like you've probably heard me mention, it uses reverse audio ITC. So it has inbuilt banks. It's not scanning radio, internet radio, which obviously people accuse it of and say you could just be tapping into your own servers and things with all this information on. It doesn't. It's all inbuilt banks, but it's all reversed. Yeah. Because obviously, if you have an app that's scanning online radio, it's doing it forwards. It's forwards audio. And you will get false anomalies. You obviously go and hit a station where a presenter's saying hello or anything, and you could get false positives. So we use reverse audio, because if you reverse anything, even us talking, it comes out as complete gibberish. It's alien. Yeah. It doesn't even sound like a language. And we have, say in the new one, each one's got different amounts of banks in it, but the new one's got 12 banks. So you've got 12 banks of reverse audio, of human tones and sounds, but no actual words, because it's all reversed. Yeah. And I also spend a lot of time hunting anomalies out that may accidentally sound like words backwards, which can happen. Not often, but I make sure that everything's removed. Okay. And what the app does, simple, it is all random. There is nothing, because again, people have said it's pre-programmed. It's pre-programmed sequences and algorithms and things like that. It's not. Every single thing is random, and it has to be. Yeah. So it picks a random bank, Every time it fires a bank, it picks a random bank, and when it picks a random bank, it then picks a random sweep rate in milliseconds. It's very quick. And when it picks a random bank, the milliseconds to play that bank for, it then picks a random volume as well. So the volume's never the same twice. And then it plays that bank for that milliseconds at that volume, then it picks it another bank and then does the same again. So it's completely random. There are no set patterns, no lists, there's no inbuilt words. It's just all random. And what that does, it makes a cacophony of sound, human tones and noises that we know now that the spirit can manipulate. And then we get, like as you've heard with the ones you've used, you're getting voices coming out of this thing forwards.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. There's no trickery. There's no, special thing about it. It's just an understanding of what spirit need to be able to try to communicate.
Yeah.
And I've spent a long time sort of figuring this out and doing what we do. A lot of us have. And we just wanted to try and get as close to real-time communication as we could.
Yeah. I think they're worth trying.
Yeah. Again,
anything is worth trying because the common... it is our belief that spirit is energy. That energy can affect...
Energy,
which is what a tablet or a phone is.
Yeah, you said exactly what I said on my last live stream. Because people said, well, how can a spirit manipulate that phone and manipulate that audio? I said the same way they can turn your TV on and off. The same way they can affect electrical devices.
That's right.
Because it's just an electrical device, and we don't know how they do it, but we do know they can do it. They can manipulate the environment around them. They can manipulate environmental sounds around them as well. They can manipulate light. They can alter the temperature. So that's how we believe they do it. Like I say, we don't have all the answers, but we know the things that are coming out these things forwards, which again, it's all reverse audio, it can't be there.
Yeah.
And we get an entire sentences coming out of this thing, like what you said, responding to the question you've just asked.
Yeah.
So
it's all very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jacqueline's come back on. She says,
right.
Brill, don't use the witch at home.
Yes.
Paranormal was using her live and said my name on demand.
Mm-hmm. I've always said, yeah, she's right. She's right. A lot of the apps, again, you've got to remember, like the witch is a dark thing. It's designed for a purpose to the vibrations in it, the energy. Because again, sound is just energy, and that's what we use. We've learned that these frequencies and certain sounds. And it's like anything. If you're unsure, doesn't matter whether it's an app or whether you're using a K2 meter or a digital recorder or anything, always be wary in your own home because that's where you live. You don't want to be stirring up, you don't want to be stirring up too much, and especially with these things that are designed to pull in these darker energies. So I've always said to people, if you know what you're doing, and you're comfortable with it, and you're comfortable with the darkness and things like that, fine, as long as you still use, put protection in place. But for anybody new who's just wanting to try it, I would suggest using it, but go out somewhere to a location or somewhere and just try it away from your home.
So I must admit that witch sounds really interesting to me for me to try it in my sounds room at the centre.
Yeah, I would definitely
that is
give it
darker.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, if you've got a location that is dark and there's dark energy there, it's the perfect one to use. And like I say, we've had some interesting results. Let's put it that way. With Pen again.
I'm all excited about that one now.
Well,
I can't download it now.
Yeah. Well, again, if you try it, let me know how it goes. Because, like I say, some of the stories that people have sent me after they've used it, it even makes me go, wow, when I made the thing, you know what I mean? And when testing it, I know what happened here, so, but to hear some people's stories, it's fascinating.
Well, Jacqueline just come on, I've used it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Jacqueline's been in my sounds room and used it, so you'll have to tell us what you got from there in there, Jacqueline. Mm-hmm. That's all good stuff. So, there seems to be an in thing at the minute. about going back to basics.
Yeah.
In the paranormal, which is totally opposite sort of to what you do. You go techie side.
Yeah.
I think there's room for, well, people do investigate how they want to do it.
Yeah.
Do you see that? Would you go back to basics, or do you think, well, back to basics, they've had their go?
Well, there's nothing wrong with back to basics. I mean, when we first started, like especially me, there were only the basics.
Yeah.
We didn't have any of this technology. We just basically had ourselves, if you were lucky, an old reel-to-reel tape recorder.
Yeah.
And we didn't know there was no such things as K2 meters, anything like that. You used a compass or something, like a lot of the investigators did in the time. But there's nothing wrong with going back to bed. All the toys are fantastic. And the reason I like a lot of the technology is because it shows people who, like I said, haven't got a gift or who can't experience things themselves. They can visually see things and hear things. But for us, going back to basics in a location, again, there's that thing people talk about. A lot of the technology is tainting the evidence that we get. So I'm totally for going back to basics. Just basically walking into a building with a pair of dowsing rods and a digital recorder and off you go.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. And I say to anybody, you use what works for you.
Yeah, definitely.
If you want to use a crystal and just go in with a crystal and answer yes and no questions, or you want to go in with the latest tech, just use what works.
If it works for you, that's the way to go forward. We're all different, aren't we?
Exactly. And I've actually caught some of my best evidence with just a digital recorder.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy, just a cheap, off-the-shelf digital recorder, and you get some mind-blown stuff.
Yeah. I think a lot of people who are coming into the field feel like they have to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds, but they don't.
No. And that's the thing. What I've done when I started developing these apps and things, there was other people they doing it, and they were selling them for ridiculous amounts of money. $20, $30 for an app, and the maybe is good, but a lot of people and a lot of teams can't afford this amount of money for something like that. So I always think you don't need to spend lots of money.
Yeah, I think people that have watched the TV shows, haven't they? Especially Ghost Adventures.
Oh, money's no object, is it?
They've got 10 REM pods set up.
Yeah.
At £200, £300 a time. If you're new to the field, you don't have to.
No.
We tend to use our equipment to back up what Jane is picking up or what we're feeling. So we try and use both, which suits us.
That's kind of what we do as well, and that's kind of what we did in the TV show that I was involved with. It started out as just a medium on there.
Yeah.
And then they brought me and another gentleman called Lee Digman in because we were techie, and they wanted us to back up what the medium was getting with technology. So it was just a perfect mix of both. And I believe it's good to have both. You need both. You need the sensitives, then the equipment, and they back each other up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think one of the most important things on investigation is a pen and notepad.
Yep. People forget
to write things down. And I say to when anybody comes to the centre and says, no matter how silly it is, if anything comes into your head or you feel anything, just say. Because if it's just you, that's your experience of it. But if 10 different people sense the same thing in the same area at the centre, that's kind of interesting then.
Exactly.
But if they don't say it or they try and save it to the end of the night, then they forget.
They totally forget because again, it's it because they think I'll wait till the end of the night, but then other stuff happens and you get into different conversation with people and it's just lost. It's gone forever.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, a couple more comments. Glenn says you can hunt for spirit with just your free recorder and voice recorder on your phone.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
So that's very true. Kerry says, if you want to hear from Parasearch Radio, then why not give us a like on the chat? Yeah, we try and get as many people to listen to all these great shows throughout the week as we can, because it is a good station. I was actually offered a show on another station, but I chose this one because I thought this one's.
That's it. You're happy with it, and like I said, there's a lot of cool things.
And it's nice talking to all the guests. It's nice talking.
Again, it's so many different people with so many. Because even though we all in the paranormal is like a big umbrella, isn't it? It's not just one specific thing.
It's huge when you think about
massive.
it. It's endless.
Exactly.
And I like to get different guests on who talk about different subjects, not just about ghosts and spirits.
No. I mean, myself, I'm into like paranormal. I like UFO stuff. I like cryptids. Yeah, there's just a whole thing. You know what I mean? It's a fascinating field.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's and like I say, I've made so many nice, good friends through this field. It is good.
Oh yes, I mean the years I've been doing this, and especially the last couple of years, some of the friends I've made and trusted friends as well. It's been amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, definitely. So, what's your next project now, then, Brian?
At the minute, I'm working on something new, a new ITC thing, which is getting ready to be released soon. We're also working hard doing the live streams with. We've got this thing going on at the minute with the Black Mirrors and the Hellbox, which you might have seen if you've watched any of our recent ones. That's just a thing that's got us fascinated at the moment. Some of the stuff that's been coming out and trying to find out what this box is and why we seem to have so many spirits coming in that want the box opened. Yeah. So we're putting a lot of our concentration and effort into that at the moment. We're doing a lot of investigations around Whitby at the minute. We've done some really cool ones, and we've got some really cool stuff coming up. So we kind of got a lot on at the minute, which is a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Dave Barrick's come on. He says, "Hi peeps, the stuff we got from Brian app, Project Paranormal app is so intelligent."
Mm-hmm. The stuff, the pro again, that was one of those applications and one of those collaborations I did. I mean, I've worked with David Barrett for a long time, and I've actually investigated with him in private as well. And he's one of the field's genuine guys. He's 100%. I wish there were more people like David in the field. But yeah, he asked us to do an app, and we came out with the Project Paranormal app, and then we made a follow-up to it, which is the one we use now. And the stuff that they get, if you go over to the Project Paranormal Facebook page and you look at the videos, they're getting unbelievable real-time intelligent communication. It's mind-altering stuff what they get, and that app is just being one of those special ones that just never stops amazing us with the stuff that the guys are getting with it.
Yeah, I've had David as a guest.
Yeah.
Fascinating talking to David.
Oh, he's a fascinating guy. Yeah, he's done so much within the paranormal. It's crazy. Yeah.
Richard Clements just reminded me to mention the book of the Parasearch Radio.
Right.
The Parasearch Radio has got its own book out. So if any listeners want to read about Parasearch Radio, there is a book on Amazon. Check it out and have a good read. Glenn says every app, Brian or Javier. Sorry, I do apologise.
That's okay.
Is amazing.
Yeah, myself and Javier, we started this journey together, and we worked together on a lot of apps. Some of the apps that we've made, like Geminis Box and a few others. We did as collaboration together. We worked together very closely at one time because we just thought exactly the same, and we had the same ideas, and we just worked so well together. Now, unfortunately, Javier's had health issues, and he's took time off, and he's gone to live his life and have fun. But Spain Paranormal, on the Play Store. Any of his apps, amazing. You've got to go and check them out again. Anyone who wants to check any of these things out. But again, he was one of these guys who he was 100% genuine. He was just a nice guy. Yeah. He really was, and it was a pleasure to work with him. It really was.
Oh, cool. I think I'm going to have to check out some of these apps.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, we've done a range. I mean, there's a lot of apps from other developers out there. I mean, I don't tell people just to use ours. Yeah. But there's a lot of apps, like say Javier's got a few. There's other developers, but with all these things, just give them a try.
That's right. So what's the sort of price range of your apps then, Brian?
Free up to, I only charge, because like I said, some of the apps are like $20 and $30, and I was like, my God. Yeah. But we're talking free. There's a lot of them free, so you can try ones free, and those free ones are not cut down version. They're literally fully fledged apps and free. I've done a few collaborations with a few teams, and their apps are free as well. And then they range up to like £1.20, £2.20, and the new one, because the new one is basically everything I've learned, everything that has led to this one, all the experience we've had of making these things. Yeah. And this new one is only going to be $4.99 itself. So we nowhere near up to the price of like some of the Dizzy Heights, some of the others. I like to keep them in a range where people can try them for free, and then even if they have to pay, some of them that we charge for, a pint of beer and a packet of crisps. You know what I mean? Price. It's not.
They're for everyone then, aren't they? Really?
Basically, yeah.
Got a fiver.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. We didn't want to go down the route. Obviously, I don't mind people charging for things, obviously, because there's a lot of work goes into these things. That's what people forget. There's a lot of work, but I think there's a limit. There's a cut-off point where if you go up past a certain point, to me, it's going more past into greed. You know what I mean? It's just more about the money. Where it's not about the money to us. I explain to people, like we sit for so many hours in front of these computers making these things. The time to make them, to test them, to it's a lot of man hours, and
I've got no qualms about people making money, because unfortunately money makes the world go round, and
exactly. Life isn't free. That's the thing.
I've had that at the centre.
Yeah.
About charging for teams coming in, and I said, well, I have to pay rent.
Exactly.
I wish everything was free, but it's not, and you need to be rewarded for all the effort that you put into it.
That's it. And again, we don't make a lot out of this. It's just a little bit of something to help support what we do.
Yeah.
And and that's why we have a mix. We've got the majority are free. There's just a couple that we say if you enjoy the free ones.
Yeah.
Then if you want to support what we do a little bit, then there's a couple of paid ones there that just helps us out a little bit.
And the price you're charging for the paid ones aren't ridiculous prices anyway, so you're not ripping people off.
Oh, God, no. Like I say, that...
Okay, Glenn, I've got a few more minutes. Glenn says the free apps are giving back to all the hard work in the field. Yes, definitely.
Yep. Definitely, yeah.
Kerry says, I always forget this. I always forget to mention the next show. So, once we finish on the Haunted Connection show, just refresh the page if you're listening on Parasearch Radio, and you'll get the Paranormal's concept show. And they're talking spooks, spectres, and ghosts tonight. So that's going to be another interesting show.
That sounds like a good one as well, yeah.
Yeah, and Kerry again says, nothing wrong with charging for the work you put out there.
Yeah, there isn't, but we used to get like a lot of stick, which was unfortunate, because when I first started, my very first app that I released, I charged £1, right? And I got people complaining, but the same people had gone to buy another app like from other developers at like $19.99, and I was charging £1, and I was like, it's £1, it was just it's always been a sticky subject for me. You know what I mean? Like the charging of these things, and I've never been comfortable with it. But like I said, that's why I don't put a price on everything, because there's a lot free, couple there that you can buy, just help support what we do. So you give people the choice.
Yeah, which is a good idea.
Yeah.
But then what can you get for £1 nowadays? You know, we have the grandkids. You buy the grandkids some sweets.
£1 for a little packet of sweets, exactly. So
2 minutes and they're gone.
Yeah.
But you spend £1 or the most expensive one, £4, £5.
Yeah.
And you've got life, haven't you?
Yeah, that's it. You can use it, and again, if it works for you and a thing, you've got that for life. You know, it's you can just keep using it and using it, and you know, most people throw a £5 away, just go and get a McDonald's, and they spend £10 on just a quick takeaway meal. You know, so
so I've got no problems with rewarding you for what you do, because I couldn't do it.
It's not either. Like I say, the some of the work we do, like to develop these things, is I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong, but some of it is so boring sometimes.
Yeah,
there's a lot of tedious work, especially with the audio. Like I said, I can go through there's 12 banks of audio. I can go through that audio 30 times, easy. Just hunting out anomalies in the reversed audio, just over and over and over and over again, till you almost go insane. It's
a bit mind blown. Okay, a few more comments before we finish. Jacqueline said people pay £40 or more for K2.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Puts in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, that definitely does.
Yeah. Glenn says Brian is one of the most kindest men ever. I was a skeptic until I got hold of their apps. Everything's spot on, and he made a great app for me called D666.
Yep.
Made my dream come true to give back to the hard workers in the field.
Yeah, that was it's very kind of him to say that as well, by the way. But yeah, he asked me to he had this idea, and he said would you do it for me, because obviously there's the only thing, and of course I said yes, and then we said, you know, he said, well, let's give it away free, give back to the community, that, you know, because, you know, the community, without the guys that actually use these things and get all this evidence.
Yeah, you're wasting your time, aren't you?
Wasting your time. It's the magic. People say, oh, you do these fantastic apps and it's magic. No, the magic is in what you guys do with it.
Yeah.
Because without you, you know, I wouldn't carry on doing these things. So
it's a team effort, Brian.
It is. It really is.
One can't work without the other. Which is the way it should be.
Yeah. If we all just work together a little bit better and take example from, like, you know, like guys like Glenn and Jacqueline, like you say, and David Barrett and yourself, who are willing to help each other and just go that extra mile for each other. And I just wish there was just more of it.
Yeah, I agree. Do you ever think we'll get this? There's a word bandied about the paranormal a lot nowadays, Paraunity.
Yeah.
Do you ever think that'll? I don't think so.
But you read my mind. No, because people will be people. And there will always be people, like we said, who are falling out, who want to be the next big thing. And there's always going to be fighting, squabbling. Unfortunately, it's human nature.
Yeah.
So I would like to be a lot less of it.
Yeah, I agree.
But we'll never get rid of it.
No, we won't. I don't think so.
No.
But
all we can do is lead by example. We can just try and show people that we can work together. That's why I work with people like David Barrett and with Glenn and like a lot of the other guys. I actually made an app called Paraunity for a group called the Paraunity Group UK. Yeah. And, you know, if we just keep showing people that we can work together, we don't have to be nasty to each other.
That's right.
Hopefully it'll spread. That's the dream.
Well, I think that's what we all hope. All us serious people who want to get on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying we're all going to agree on everything, because we're not.
No.
But just because two people don't agree, they don't have to fall out over it.
Exactly. I mean, even the people I'm friends with, we've had disagreements. You know, like one idea or anything, like no, but we all do, like what you said, we all do things differently.
Yeah.
And you know.
That's a good thing.
Exactly. If we all did the thing, we'd be boring if we just all did exactly the same.
It would be. Okay, we're about ran out of time.
Okay.
How it goes so quick, doesn't it?
It really does. We just blinked.
So, I want to say thanks very much for being my guest tonight, Brian. It's been great talking to you. I know we should have had this show just before Christmas, but I think you were poorly.
I was very poorly. I really was. I lost my voice.
this virus that's been going on this winter has been horrendous, and it's got Jane again now. So thanks very much for being the guest. It's been great talking. Hopefully you'll come on again later in the year, perhaps, and we can have another chat. Oh,
definitely. I'll just tell me when, and I'll be back on. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for having me on.
Hopefully I'll get to meet you in person one day.
Well, but like I said, if you come down this way and you're in Whitby, just give me a shout.
I will do. So we've got to go. It's 9:00. Otherwise, I'll be getting told off.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks, Brian, for being a guest, and we'll see you all again next Tuesday. So, bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.